Hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on with y'all today? How y'all doing on this Saturday? I'm out here, the usual, out here chilling, enjoying the breeze. It ain't too cold out here today. It feel pretty good actually. I ain't even got to have no hood on today. This video I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna get right into it. This video I'm gonna do today, it's not a manifesting, technique video or nothing like that. It's basically a couple of stories of me growing up or whatever, and me being introduced to the spirit realm of things. Uh, when I was young, I didn't know that's what it was. I think back now or whatever, and I realize now I was actually being introduced or being opened up to uh, to that spirit realm, that other realm, that realm that we can't see with the naked eyes. Uh, and the stuff I'm about to talk about is stuff that really I ain't even told a lot of people about. It's certain selected fewer people that I've brought this up to or whatever. It's just certain ones I know I can and certain ones I know I can't. Because some people think a nigga about crazy. Just being honest. Which I already know is certain people now that probably think I'm weird. Just how the way I think or whatever about certain stuff. But it's just to let people know and understand that our mind is so powerful, that we can do such unbelievable things with our mind and the way we think about stuff and all of that things that wasn't introduced to us. You see what I'm saying? But our mind is so powerful. And just getting into it, I'm gonna start it off back when I was way young, like I say, probably 7, 8, 9 years old or something like that. But okay, as a kid growing up, kids always had they superheroes. They have Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman. Some of the women might have wished they was Wonder Woman or whatever. But and all these characters, all these superhero characters, they all had certain powers that they could do. Spider-Man could shoot webs out his hand, and Superman could fly, and these little laser things could shoot out of his eyes, and he can break bricks or whatever. So with me growing up, I was one of the same type of kids. I know Popeye was one of my favorite ones, along with Superman and all the other ones. But I was just like any other kid. Had my superhero that I wish I was or whatever. And I don't know about other kids. I'm speaking for me personally, but personally as a kid, I actually thought that that I really could do these type of things, these supernatural type of things, or these type of powers that these superhero characters had. So getting into it, I remember, and this just to let you know how far back, you know, it goes to the point of me being introduced to this other realm. There's something else is there. There's something else going on other than that what we can see with our naked eye. But I remember years ago, like I said, when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. I remember I used to go outside, and I used to do it all the time. But I used to go outside, and I would look up in the sky. It'd be daytime. But I would look up in the sky at the sun with my naked eye, you know. But I would just sit there and I would just stare. And I would just stare at the sun with my naked eye. And you would feel something in your eyes because you staring at this bright light, the sun. But I would fight through it. I remember like it was yesterday. But I would fight through it, and I would just stare at the sun, stare at the sun, stare at the sun, and just see how long I could stare at the sun before I would before I have to come down or whatever. I didn't know nothing about gazing or sun gazing or none of that or whatever. But I would do that. I would do it so much. I mean, even when we driving in cars or whatever, my mama driving the car, I'm in the back seat. I sit there and be looking out the window and staring at the sun. I don't know why I was doing these things, but I used to do it all the time. So much to where my mama used to get on to me all the time about doing it, telling me to stop, boy, you gonna mess your eyes up. You gonna mess your eyes up or whatever. But I still would do it. And most times when I would do that, I would stare at it for so long and then I would come down. And you know how you had that glare in your eyes. If you stare at the sun for a long time, you'll see this little energy ball or something, I guess you could say it was, or it seemed like to me, you know. But it would, that glare would be in your eyes for a minute and then it'll fade away. So I would do that. I would stare at the sun for a long time and I would come down and I would have that glare in my eyes. And in my mind, I would take and stare at something like a car or a truck. I remember staring at a truck one time, and I wouldn't stare at the truck itself, but I would still say like on the door of a truck, on a specific spot on the door on the truck, and I would sit there and I was just staring at one spot. Maybe the truck was probably maybe 30, 40 yards from me, but I would stare at it and stare at it and stare at it and focus on that one spot. And in my mind, I remember just like it was yesterday. But in my mind, I'm telling myself that I'm fixing to move this truck with my mind, basically. So in my mind, I'm sitting there staring at this truck in hopes of moving this truck backwards or forwards with my mind. Even though it never happened, you know, but this was a type of stuff as a 8 year old, 7 year old kid that I used to think about, growing up, and I used to actually try. Didn't know what I was doing, just I don't know. So nothing didn't happen, like I said. It wasn't nothing miraculous or nothing like that happened, but it was just now that I know, introducing that side of that realm to me. You see what I'm saying? Um, then as time passed, maybe as I was, you know, 12, 11, 12, 13 years old, I started getting into psychics. For some reason, I always was fascinated with psychics. I always wanted to be a psychic. I always wanted to read people's minds. I always wanted to know the future, be able to predict the future, to the point where I remember I used to, when I was little, I remember I used to, back in the day, they used to have them late nights. They have them psychic hotline commercials come on TV, and them 900 numbers. So I would call these 900 numbers, and these things were like a minute, 99 cents a minute. But I would call these numbers over my grandmama's house all the time, and would run her phone bill sky high talking to psychics. This is a young age, like 11, 12 years old or something. But I would run her phone bill up sky high talking to psychics. Me knowing now at the time, me aware of and realizing that it's 99 cents a call or a minute. But I would get so deep into what this psychic was telling me that it may be 30, 45 minutes, an hour or so would pass by, and I would still be on the phone talking to this psychic. I remember a few times I would talk to the psychic on the phone, and I would get so deep into it, and so much time being passed by that, and they thing is, to try to keep you on the phone, because the longer you stay on the phone, the more money, them 99 cents adding up. But it was a few times that I would stay on there maybe an hour and a half or so, to the point where the psychic didn't even have no more that it could tell me. You see what I'm saying? I had got that deep into the conversation that the psychic didn't even have no more it could tell me, and they would get off the phone with me, you know. So that right there, that was, like I say, maybe 11, 12, 13 years old, somewhere around in there. I can't remember exact age, but I was into the psychic thing real hard. I wanted to be a psychic. I wanted to know the future. I wanted to be able to read people's minds and stuff like that at a young age. Now that I think about all this stuff. Okay. Uh, as time passed by, I started getting into astrology and horoscopes. You know, getting little books. They used to have little books at the grocery store, that little small little paperback books, little thin little books, that you could buy at the grocery store. I think they might have been like 99 cents or $1 or something like that. And it would have like, different months. You would find your sign, and which I'm a Leo, but you would find your sign, and that book, it would have, it would tell certain stuff about the Leos, or your sign or whatever. And then at the back of the book, it'll have like a 1 through 30 day thing. The book will have, certain stuff that take place, or don't do this certain stuff, or do this on this day or whatever. So I would basically live my whole life, at that time frame, I would basically live my whole life every day according to these books. If it was, I remember times that, when I got a little older, old enough to drive, and we used to go to Atlanta all the time. We used to leave Rome, and it wasn't nothing for us to go to Atlanta all the time. So, I would read certain stuff in these books, and it may say, "Don't travel today, cause it's a bad day to travel," or something like that. And it may be we may have plans to go to Atlanta that day or something. I wouldn't go just because of what I read out of this astrology book, this horoscope book. So I was on the psychic thing and the astrology way back then. Like I say, I used to basically live my life off of these books. Whatever these books said, do or don't do, I done it. You know. So fast forward a few more years. This is back in like '97. I think, yeah, like '97. I moved to California. I had moved out to California with my uncle out there, and nothing didn't happen miraculous, or nothing unexplained when I was out there. But just to let y'all know, I was still on that tip of the astrology and the psychic stuff back then, to the point where my cousin, he sent me out like two books. He mailed me out like two thick. Now these books here wasn't a little thin books; they were some real thick books, like two of them. Cause he knew I was up on the psychic stuff, and I was all into the astrology and horoscopes and stuff. So he went out and bought me two thick books and mailed them out to me in California out there, just for me to have. Not knowing that I would, probably run into or get any books out there. I guess he just thought about me. He sent me two thick books, and I would read those or whatever. So I was always into that. Okay, I stayed out in California about two years or so. I come back in like '99, and so back in, say, when was it? About 2000, 2001, 2002, something like that. I ended up getting a job at this steel plant. I'm not gonna mention the name of the steel company that I worked for or whatever, but I ended up getting a job there. My partner had got me hired on with him, and we was in shipping and receiving. And it was a small company or whatever. So in shipping and receiving, we didn't need nothing but about two or three people, back there. It wasn't no big companies that come through and get steel. Now they did have 18-wheeler trucks that go out and take steel to certain companies, but they would have what they call roll-up calls or whatever, or wheel calls, I believe it was called, that would come up. It just, the average Joe might come and get a couple pieces of steel or whatever, and we would put it on their truck for them, and send them on their way. Now, at this company, most times it was just me, my partner, the supervisor. He was there, but he was kind of, in and out or whatever. He was working there way longer than we was, and my partner, he was there, couple years or something like that before I got hired on. But it was a booth. It was a little booth in there, like a little one man booth or whatever, with a little desk, little chair, whatever, in there. And I remember they had a landline phone in there. So I don't know why I did it, but for some reason one day it hit me. I was like, man, they got a phone in here. So I'm gonna try to call one of these psychic hotlines. And by this time I'm probably 21, 22, somewhere around it now. I said, man, I'm gonna call psychic hotline just to see if it works, see if it go through, see if they got the line open for 900 numbers to go through. So I called one time and it went through. I'm like, oh man, I talked to the psychic. I didn't talk to her long or whatever, but I talked to her a few minutes or whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this thing, they phone take psychic calls or whatever. I can do psychic calls, and I said I'm gonna do that all the time. I'm gonna at least once or twice a week. I'm gonna call the psychic hotline on their phone. They ain't gonna know who did it. So I would do that. Excuse me. I would do that. So this one particular day, this where it finna start, getting into it or whatever. But this one particular day, I called a psychic hotline, and I was talking to this lady psychic, and she was talking to me and all, going through different things. So in mid sentence, she was talking, and in mid sentence, she just stopped, and she was like, I remember just like yesterday, she was like, she said, wait a minute, wait a minute. She said, I'm sensing psychic ability. I said, psychic ability. She said, yeah. So she got the name and like, coincidental type of stuff. You might think about somebody and you ain't saw them in a long time and you walk into a store and there they go at the store. Or you may be, I remember I used to do this. I might think about a movie or something that I hadn't saw in years. And I'd be, turning the preview guide on the channel on the TV and the movie getting ready to come on, and I hadn't saw this movie in years, and for some reason the movie crossed my mind, and I'm scrolling down the preview guide on the TV, and the movie probably getting ready to come on or getting ready to go off or something like that. But so stuff like that. So I said, yeah, I do that stuff all the time, coincidental type of stuff. I see stuff like that all the time. She said, you got psychic ability. I said, wow. She said, you need to start. She said, if the more you work towards it or the more you practice it or whatever, the better you will become with it. So we talked on the phone and all for a little bit longer. So after I got off the phone with her, I was like, so it really hit me, So I started thinking like, man, how can I work on it? How can I practice? Do I have to take a psychology class up or something? So I started thinking about going to take a psychology class up or something, which I never done, but that thought crossed my mind. So time went by, a little longer, and those same type of things that was happening, coincidental type of stuff was happening throughout my life or whatever. I just, brushed it to the side, really didn't think too much about it like that. So my cousin, I'm on Facebook or whatever, but my cousin, at the time I had started getting into the Illuminati type of stuff. For some reason, something led me to start trying to tap into this whole Illuminati thing and getting deep into what was it all about and all of that. So I started off with Tupac, and you go on YouTube and I looked up and it was talking about Tupac and all this, and so I started going deeper. For it had me at Malcolm, not Malcolm X, but Martin Luther King, and from there it went to JFK, and it had me all the way back into the Babylonian days or whatever. So, and I used to talk to one of my cousins about it all the time, So he was telling me about this Facebook group that he was in, and it was this female that was in the same group that he was in, that maybe we should link up and talk, cause she on the same tip that I'm on, about the Illuminati type of stuff and tapping into what they really trying to do, what their agenda is, and all of that. So I was like, yeah, just tell her, send me a friend request or whatever, and we can talk or whatever. So she sent me a friend request, and we used to talk back and forth, texting in the inbox all the time about it. So eventually, we exchanged numbers. So we started talking on the phone about it a lot. So I don't know what point it was after we started talking on the phone, but eventually it got to where I had told her, I had started telling her about, what had happened with me with this psychic telling me that I had psychic abilities, and she that I should start the more I practice it, the better I would get or whatever. Didn't think nothing about it. I was just telling her about, the incident that happened. So she was like, she said, "Oh, for real?" She said, she said, "I want you to do something." What it is, she wanting to practice with me with it, and but she was like, I'm thinking of a color." I said, "Oh man," I said, "I'm saying it myself." I said, "Oh man," she want me to try to think of the color that she thinking in her mind or whatever. So she said, "I'm thinking of a color." I said, "Hold on." I said, "We can do it, man." I said, "But I said it's gotta be." I said, "As far as the colors, it gotta be, just the normal colors, black, white, purple, just the normal little 8, 9 colors or whatever it is in the crayon box." I said, "That's the only way I do it." I said, "You can't be coming up with no violet and all these different types of colors, these crazy colors. Just the normal colors." And I get 3 chances at it. Meaning, if I get it wrong the first, second time, I get a third time to try to guess the color that she thinking in her mind. So she was like, "Okay, cool." So at the time, I was roommating with one of my cousins down in Cartersville, Georgia. It's about 30 minutes or so from Rome, where I'm from. And so I was leaving his house at the time, driving back to Rome, coming back up to Rome for something. And she was like, so she was like, she thinking of a color in her mind. So the first color, I don't remember the color she said or whatever. It's been some years ago, but the first color that she said, I sat there. I'm driving. Actually, I'm driving in the car at the time, so I couldn't close my eyes or nothing like that. I'm driving at the time, so I just kind of settled my body down or whatever, I guess you would say. And I started thinking of a color, see what come to me. So I said the color, and it was wrong. So, but I get 3 chances. So the first color was wrong that I chose. Second color, it was right. I said, "Oh, what a coincidence. I could have got lucky." That's what I'm thinking. I could have got lucky or whatever. So she was like, "Let's do another one." So we did another one. I got it right on the first time. So now I'm like, "Hold up now, something trippy going on, you know." So she did another color. I got it on the first time, first try. So I'm really, by this time, I'm kind of tripping a little bit now. Like, how is this happening? How am I picking these colors like this? So at the time, like I say, I was driving in the car. So I'm going down the highway, going towards Rome, coming back towards Rome. So she was like, let's do numbers now. She said, "I'm thinking of a number 1 through 10." So I'm driving. I'm trying to, think of some numbers or whatever in my mind or whatever. And I picked three sets of numbers, 3 different numbers, and all of them was wrong. So when she was getting ready, I don't even know what it was she was getting ready to say, but she was getting ready to say something. And as soon as she was getting ready to say this word out of her mouth, I don't even know what it was because I cut off in mid sentence or whatever. The number 3 just popped in my mind all of a sudden. I said, "Baby," I said, "Is it 3?" And she was like, "Yep." I said, "Oh man." So like I say, we had been talking for a while, and she probably, well, I found out later, she started having, some type of feelings for me, a connection or whatever, where she was kind of liking me a little bit or whatever. So me at the time, I'm thinking, well, she could just be telling me this stuff, making me seem like I'm right, and I'm really picking these colors and numbers because she liked me too. So I said, I got off the phone with her after I picked the number 3. I got off the phone with her, and I was going on into Rome. But my mind's still tripping on, man, I done picked these colors and numbers. I ain't never done nothing like this before. So I called one of my other homegirls, and I'm telling her about it. And, that's my homie. She was like, "Oh, you ain't no psychic. Woo, woo, woo." Well, if I'm a psychic, then tell me what I'm thinking then. I said, man, I don't know what's going on. I said, but I'm picking these colors. So you ain't no psychic. Tell me what I'm thinking then. So I said, all right, I'm gonna do it one time. So by that time I had got to somewhere where I wasn't driving no more. I was settled down. I could sit down. So I was sitting down, and I took an inhale, and I exhale. I don't even know because I hadn't started meditating or nothing by that time. So I don't even know what made me inhale and exhale and calm my body down or nothing like that. I just did it off natural instincts, I guess. But so I said I get three chances though, and it can't be no crazy colors or whatever. So I forgot what her color was. It was yellow or something like that. But the first color, I picked it and it was right. And she was like, hell no. She said, hell no. So so she said, do another one, do another one, let's do another one. I said, no, man, we ain't gonna do no another. I said, we just gonna do one per day. I said, I ain't finna mess my mind up or nothing like that. We're gonna do one per day. She said, no, no, you probably a psychic, whatever. Let's do another one. I said, all right, cool, let's do one. So she thought of another color. And how it would work with me, it would, to me, this is what it seemed like. This video already 20 something minutes already. I don't want it to be too long. But this is what it seemed like. When I would close my eyes, it seemed like the color would come from like right here, the back side of my head or whatever, and it would start easing its way up, toward the front, and it would stop like right here on the right side of my face, where I could see it on my peripheral, and I would see the word of the color, and I would see the actual color itself, and I just say what I see. So the second color, um, I chose the first one. I got it wrong. It wasn't right the first chance that I took. Um, so I said, hold up. She like, no, no. I said, is it white or whatever? She like, no, no. I said, well, hold up, man. I said, wait a minute, let me focus or whatever. So I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath in, deep breath out. I mean, exhale out. And all of a sudden, I seen the color. I can't remember if it was green or yellow because it was been so long ago, but the color that I chose was right. And she really got to tripping. So I started doing these colors with different people. So that just let me know that the first person that I done it with, the one that wanted to start practicing with me, she wasn't lying. That I guess I really was picking these colors. So I had told my brother about it too. I didn't get into depth with it or whatever, but I had told him kind of, amongst that time or whatever, told him about what was happening, that I didn't understand what was going on or whatever. I don't know how much he thought about it. He was probably just listening to me, but not really understanding what I was saying. But I had told him about it anyway. So, like I said, I had done the colors with plenty of other people, several other people after this, and was picking these colors just like that. So, I called my brother one day. He was at his job. I said, AJ, man, I said, look, I said, you know me. I said, you know me now. We grew up together. You know what I'm saying? You my brother. We grew up together. I said, now, something is going on with my mind, man. I'm picking these colors. I said, now, like coincidental type of stuff, I done seen all my life. I'm cool with that. I said, but to be picking these colors and actually trying to do this and actually doing it, I said, this is something I ain't never experienced in my life, man. I said, pick a color. I said, I hadn't done it. And this is my first time doing the colors with him. I said, pick a color. I said, I hadn't done it today yet. I said, pick a color. So he had his job working. And so we on the phone talking. I mean, so I sat there for a second. I said, let me know when you got your color. So he was like, I got it. I said, okay. I said, well, hold up. I got calm in the inside, took a deep breath in, inhale, exhale, and all of a sudden the color again, I started seeing it from here, the back side, and it started like kind of like it would be floating up real slow. And all of a sudden it'll just stop, right here on the right side of my peripheral. So I said, hey man, I see orange. He said, hell no. So I said, what? I said, orange your color? He said, man, I'm sitting here right now looking at my orange juice bottle. He said, I'm sitting here right now at work looking at my orange juice bottle, saying orange over and over in my mind right now. I said, you see what I'm saying? I said, man, I said, I don't know what's going on with my mind, Jay. I said, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So what I did, I went to Google. I typed in psychedability. And the first thing, I seen like a little game thing you could do called Lumosity or something like that. Then I done saw it before, and I tried it or whatever. And then I seen another little psychic game that you could do where they had like little cards, like three little cards with, and each one of them have different shapes on it, triangle, circle, or X, or whatever on the card. But I couldn't see it. So what I would have to do, the game or whatever, I would have to, guess what the shape was on the card before they flip it over to see if I'm right or not. And then they would have, at the end of the game, they would have like little percentages or whatever, letting you know. I think 16 to 23% it said was slight psychedability, and 32 to 40 or 50 or whatever was mid range, and anything higher than that was extraordinary psychedability. So I did this. I played this game. I don't know how many different times. And when I first did it, the first couple times, I think I scored in between 16 to 23% or whatever. But after that, it started rising to the point where I was up to like 80 something percent on this game every time, and that was really tripping me out. So I started getting a little deeper into it on Google. So I typed in psychedability or whatever, and I seen this course that you can buy. This course is like $200 and something. So it just let you know how deep I was into it. It was a course called the Silver Method. And I ordered the course. And what this course was, it was basically saying like everybody has psychic abilities. You see what I'm saying? Some can tap into it easier than others, but everybody has it. So this course was for people that don't know they have it, or didn't know they had it or whatever, but was curious about it, to go through this course, and it would show you how to open up your psychic ability. And it was also for people that knew they had it but just couldn't control it, and it would show them or help them to control it easier or better or whatever. So I ordered this course, $200 and something course. Man, I didn't mean for this video to get up this long, but I ordered this course, $200 and something. So within this course, it would show you, how to meditate and stuff like that. And this course, it had me make believing, or it basically showed me, for one, it showed me how powerful imagination and visualization is. I never knew how powerful it was, but it showed me how powerful that was. So within this course, on top of showing you how to meditate, it had me going into different. It had me going inside of plants, in the inside of an animal, or different animals, in the inside of people. So I would do these meditations, right? So, and like I say, at the time I was down in Cartersville. Me and my cousin down there, roommate. So this one particular meditation I was getting ready to do. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. I don't want to I come on another time and get a little more deeper, because this video kind of getting long now. But I was getting ready to do one of the meditations in there. So right before it, I'm looking at the laptop screen, but right before I was actually going into the meditation, a thought went by my mind, or something came within my mind, and it was saying, it said, this what it said. It said, what? Now the window, the way I was facing the wall with the laptop, and to the right of me, it was the window in the kitchen right there. So, and this particular day, cuz had the blinds open in the window where you can see the sunlight and all that coming in from my right side. So right when I was getting ready to do the meditation, a vision came to my mind, and it said, or a voice came and said, what if a bird came and hit this window real hard and fell on the ground? What would you do? So all this playing in my mind now. I'm seeing all this in my mind. I'm saying in my mind, I said, man, I take and I bring the bird in the house. So when cuz get back to the house, I can show him and tell him what just happened or whatever. And then I was like, man, I can't bring no dead bird in the house. So my mind said, well, I take a bucket and I put it over the top of the bird so it can't, just in case it did wake back up or whatever, it won't fly away, and I won't look like a fool telling him this and the bird not there after I tell him the story. So I said, I take and put a bucket over the bird, so when he get back to the crib, I'll let him know, the vision that I had or whatever, and I'll, take him outside and show him the bird. So I'm sitting there. So all that went through my mind. So now the bird didn't hit no window or nothing like that. So I done started doing the meditation or whatever, and I'm done with the meditation. Now, and my cuz, he wasn't at the house at the time. So throughout this whole meditation, I kept hearing some knocking going on, like it was some knocking on the matter of fact, it started going on right before the meditation. So I'm thinking it was a duplex that we was in. So I'm thinking, and matter of fact, the next duplex right there, the next door, basically, some people had just moved in right there. So the knocking had started going right before I started my meditation. So I'm like, oh man, I said, they over there hammering on the wall and stuff like that. It's gonna mess my meditation up where I can't concentrate and focus like I need to. So it kept going, but I wanted to do this meditation. So I said, okay, this is what I do. I just block it out and make it like it's the cars and stuff, the noise of the cars and stuff going up and down the street, and block it out and go on and do my meditation. So that's what I end up doing. So throughout, and this meditation was like 45 minutes long. So throughout the whole meditation, I'm hearing them knocking on the wall over there, So I had so after that, but I finished the meditation. So after the meditation was over with, cuz he had came back to the house. I'm still in the kitchen on the computer or whatever, on the laptop. So he came home or whatever, and he went upstairs. So he went upstairs, and he came back after a few minutes. He came back downstairs and came in the kitchen and went out the back door. Then he came back in and went back upstairs. I'm like, hey, what cuz doing? So after a few minutes, now the knocking was still going on. And so after a few minutes, he hollered downstairs like, cuz. I like, yeah. He said, man, go outside and he said, go out the back, man, and scare that bird away that keep knocking on the thing up there. I said, a